Hey everyone, welcome to the Yappy Hour with Denny Prime. I know, another podcast, right? What do we need another podcast for? Well, something I just wanted to do, and so I just want to do a quick intro and to kind of talk about what we're going to do here. So this podcast is really going to focus on relevant things. I see a lot of podcasts, I see a lot of channels, I see a lot of videos or pictures, people talking about success here and success there, and it's all the glitz and the glamour. We're really going to get into the how and the why of all of this stuff. So yeah, we might talk to some of the people who have had their successes. We're going to also really focus on the people who are grinding to get there. So a lot of people talk to me about social media. I want to 100,000 followers. I want to do this. I want to do that. It's it takes work. It's a grind. It's time. It's brainstorming and thought processes and stuff that I'll be going through for this. I mean, I have no idea what I'm doing with a podcast, but I'm going to figure out as I go. So people sometimes will see, their videos get 100 views or 1,000 views or, that's all good to me, but they're comparing it to their motivation. They're comparing it to the people who they watch and, sometimes who they try to emulate. And those people started low. If you go back to their initial videos before they blew up, they probably had 50 to 100 views, Sure, now they get tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of views, but it wasn't always like that. So we're going to try to put things in perspective here. We're going to call it realistic success. We're going to talk about that type of stuff. If you get 100 views, 150 views on a podcast, if this gets that many, I don't know. I don't have a podcast audience, but just imagine imagine being out at a Carolina Panthers game up in Charlotte, and you stand up on a stool or on a stair or some place to get elevated, and you just start talking about your passion. 150 people stop to listen to what you have to say. That's not a failure in my book, I think that's a great start. Even if it's 10, 20, 30, it's something to build off of. And so we're going to talk about stuff like that. We're going to talk about, how you build things and the how and the why. So, the why being, for example, I had a YouTube channel. Look up The Real Denny Prime on YouTube. It's still there. I started doing videos with my Supra, but my why was wrong. My why was I want to make money. I want to do affiliate. I want to do this, that, and the other thing. My why wasn't the car. My why wasn't make videos that make you happy and that other people will relate to. Didn't do well. So that's where this is going to be different. We're going to make this relatable. We're going to make this realistic. Sometimes it'll just be me talking, like this intro video. Sometimes I'll have guests on. We'll talk about things ranging from finance to houses and real estate to investing to social media to crypto to sports and of course probably cars at some point and racing and that type of stuff. But we're going to talk about all of it. Really just life in general, relationship stuff, people who, 20s, 30s, 40s, some are getting married, some are having babies, some are getting divorced, some are remarrying, some are step parents like myself, so all of these different things we'll have guests on and even I'll talk about certain things, that will relate to you. And it will be done very conversational. Like I'll be speaking with you. If I have a guest, we will be speaking with you. Obviously, there's no one here now, but it will be very inclusive. I want you to send in topic ideas if you have them. Send me a DM if you want to be a guest, or if you know someone who might be a good guest. Let's keep it very informal, very light. I want to try and do as little editing as possible, not only because I'm not good at editing, which I'll get better at, but also because I just want it to be like you're in that conversation with me, or we're having this conversation, or if I have guests, it's our conversation. Cuts and edits and graphics and overlays and all that stuff. That's kind of a polished approach that I really don't want. I want it to be real, because life's real, life's hard. You see all these successful folks, wherever you live around Charlotte here, we have, especially in the car, seen a lot of successful folks that come out, and we're very lucky here in that those folks are very accessible. You can talk to them. I see the younger folks talking to them all the time. And they're very accessible. They are relatable. They will take the time to talk to people and answer questions. But we're going to dig more into like the grind. How do you start a business? How do you file an LLC? that type of stuff. How do you start a social media channel like this? Like, what do you register for? How do you do it? Some people seeing this may know that. A lot may not. But we're going to get into the nitty gritty of it all, how to be successful and helping you find out your why. Like I mentioned, I did the YouTube channel. My why was wrong and it did not succeed. And it wasn't because I couldn't get viewers. It's because my approach was wrong. So there's a lot to it. A lot goes into it. And there's some people who've kind of figured some things out. We're going to bring them on and talk about them. Or I might just talk to you. I've owned a lot of businesses. I've had retail franchise locations. I've had websites. I've had consulting companies. I've had Card Carolina, which was a racing company. I own Boosted Coffee now, so I'm doing coffee shows and events and stuff. So a lot of different experience from my end, and we'll bring in people who have other experience, and none of us are going to claim to know everything. I'm definitely not an expert. I always say I'm a jack of all trades, a master of none. I've done a lot of things. That doesn't mean I'm a pro in all of them, but the thing is trying. For me, my big thing, and I don't like to say the word weakness, but let's say areas of improvement, stuff like this. I jump into things and sometimes I go all in before I even try it. Today, I'm talking to you with a mic that I literally just bought off Amazon, my cell phone, and a tripod. I'm sitting on a chair in my backyard under a gazebo. Hopefully the birds aren't too loud in the background. So it's just a matter of getting it done, right? Starting, following up. So that's kind of what I want to do with this. As far as where's the Yappy Hour going to go? So my goal is to have regular releases, consistent releases of episodes. Obviously, it's going to be slow at the beginning as I'm building up to that. But if you guys like and follow along, get the alerts, I'll be on YouTube, I'll be on TikTok, I'll be on Instagram, I'll be on Facebook. YouTube will likely be the main video. The other ones will kind of be the highlights that will kind of promote and push it to the YouTube channel. That's my plan right now. It could change, sometimes plans change. But that's kind of what I'm planning on doing. My goal is to have, like I said, consistent releases, regular releases. Eventually, I'd like to work up to have an audience where I can do a live event and have a guest on with certain topic or topics. People can ask questions in real time. So, that's all of where I'm really looking to go here. So, whether it'll happen or not and how quickly it'll happen or not, I don't know. But my promise is to you and to myself, I'm going to try. I'm not going to give up when it gets hard. I'm not going to give up when I'm getting 7 views. I'm going to keep doing it, keep posting it. Hopefully you'll come along that journey with me. Hopefully you'll like, follow, and subscribe on all of my outlets. And that way we can do it together and I'll be able to make content that will be relevant to you, relatable to you, and useful to you. And then I get to do what I like to do best, which is talk. That's why it's called Yappy Hour. My wife and her youngest like to say I'm a yapper. And when I was going through names for what should I call this, she's like, Yappy Hour. It's got to be Yappy Hour. So here we are. That doesn't mean all the episodes will be an hour. This intro is only going to be several minutes long. But we won't drag them out for views or for algorithms or for monetization. It will be a natural conversation. If it's 10 minutes, it's 10 minutes. If it's 40 minutes, it's 40 minutes. It won't be longer than an hour. I can promise you that. But, we're not going to sit here and drag things out for the sake of dragging it out. So call it the Yappy Hour, give or take, right? Maybe that'll be a hashtag, give or take. But anyway, hope you come along the journey with me. I hope we are able to help you with some things. And like I said earlier, DM me topic ideas, DM me questions, DM me guest ideas, or if you'd like to do it yourself. And let's just see where this brings us. And welcome to the Yappy Hour.